All right, welcome into the Sports Stove podcast. We are now joined by the Big Ten Coach of the Year and the Indiana football coach, Tom Allen. Coach Allen, thank you for being with us.
You're very welcome. Great to be on your show.
All right, well, let's start right away with this year. It was a crazy year talking about the COVID stuff, the stuff going on in America, everything happening. How did you guys prepare for the football season coming into just all the chaos going on in the world?
Well, like you mentioned, it was a year of uncertainty for sure, and it was very difficult to plan for anything. There was a lot of temporary plans in pencil that got modified and changed throughout the entire process from start to finish, and it started all the way back, in the beginning, just trying to figure out how we're going to get our kids back on campus to get them training in the summertime. And then once we got that figured out, then it was how to keep them healthy once they were here and all the different contact tracing, guys in and out of workouts. And that was very difficult, very chopped up. And then you're trying to figure out how we're going to get our season started. And then they finally got that rolling and then got 4 days in and then it gets all shut down. And then we had the big delay until we started back up in November. So it was a very, very unique experience, very difficult experience, probably the most stressful, experience I've had to go through professionally with dealing with all the drama and all the unknowns. But I tell you what, it's like anything else. You fall back to your core values. You fall back to your foundation when things go wrong or when things are hard and when things are tough. And that's what we had to rely on. And I think that the culture of our program and the strength of our program kind of came shining through a lot of these difficulties.
Going into the season, I had a college football preview show, and I was high on the Indiana Hoosiers coming into the year, but I can't say I was 6-1 in the regular season high on the Hoosiers. You guys had a great season, obviously, and you had the one regular season loss to Ohio State, which was one of the most entertaining football games to watch all season, and then the bowl loss as well. But coming into this season, I guess, what was your guys' main goals or focus coming into this season? And did you reach all of your goals, or kind of where does that fall into the season this year?
Well, you talking about the 2020 season or 21?
Yes, 20 season.
So basically, we had going in, we have season goals, you have program goals. And our program goal is always to win the Big Ten and do some different things with we want our guys to graduate, and we want to make sure we're creating men of character and leadership and those kinds of goals that we have. And then, but for the season, our leadership guys and our leadership council will come up with season goals, and we want to win all of our trophy games. And didn't get to play our second one. Beating Michigan State was big for us. That's the brass platoon. We played for that trophy game, and then the Purdue game, the bucket game was not played. That was canceled. So, and then the bowl game. So we didn't reach those goals there, and so I wanted to be able to win those. Those are critical for us, and obviously you want to be able to put yourself in position to win the Big Ten. So you go through and you start your season off and you start winning games. And obviously the game against Penn State was a huge start to the season, and to beat a top 10 team like that. And another goal we had was to beat, a certain number of top 10 teams. We actually accomplished that goal and had to reset higher goals for that once we did knock off a certain number that we had set ahead of time. So just felt like our guys did exceed in a lot of ways, some things that people thought we could do in the 2020 season, especially with all the unknowns going into it. And, we thought for the longest time we were going to start the season against Wisconsin. And then the schedule pretty much flipped. We played them at the end of the year, and that ended up being our final regular season game, not knowing it would be at the time, but it ended up being that way. And so, it's like anything else, you just adapt accordingly. But I felt like we still left some things out there that not fulfilled. And which is great for the 2021 season. It gives us tremendous motivation and a lot of fuel to help this team continue to grow and build.
So with a successful season like you guys had, and maybe not from the inside looking at your team, but from the outsiders looking in, now the expectation is higher for the 2021 season. So what do you do to prepare your players and your team for higher expectations, at the very least from the outside? You may still have already the same high expectations on the inside, but to meet these outside expectations now they're on the 2021 team.
You embrace them. We talk about that all the time. When I got here, we were very upfront about what I thought we could do at Indiana, even though not everybody agreed with me about those expectations. But I knew we had to create the belief in this program, and we had to create belief within our team, and we had to be able to change the expectations of our program. And that's been a gradual process to get to that point, So now we're in a position where, our goal is to win the Big Ten. And, we were, You can say what you want, a play or two or a drive or whatever. We had our shot. We had the ball twice late in the fourth quarter against Ohio State to take the ball down the field, down by 7, with a chance to go score, and 2 points wins the game, and an extra point ties the game. So, that's the position we put ourselves in. But here's the reality. Just because we did that doesn't mean in 2021 that you start right there. You have to restart everything. You have to recreate the culture. You have to recreate the mindset. You have to recreate the fire and the edge that you've created in the past to play in the given years. And so, to me, that's what it's about. And so it's the culture of your program, and you realize that we have things out there that we have not accomplished here yet that we believe we can. And so that's what this team wants to do. And we got a lot of upperclassmen now. We've had 2 years ago, this team in 2019 did a lot of great things, had a breakthrough year with the third youngest team in the Big Ten. Well, a lot of those guys are still here. This is going to be their senior season. So, to me, I have high expectations as well. And I expect our guys to come together, have the best offseason we've ever had, and come out and have the best season we've ever had.
You're losing some key players from this last year's team. Your leading rusher in Stevie Scott, their receiver with the most receptions. One of your defensive leaders, Jamar Johnson, leaving. Expected. I've seen as many as 6 players expected to be drafted out of IU this year. So obviously, you're in college. You're constantly trying to have that recruiting cycle going, so you always have someone to replace the next man up mentality. How are you guys looking for the 2021 season, losing some of these? You mentioned a lot of young guys, but you lose some key older guys this year as well.
We did. We had some really good players, like you said. We had 2 underclassmen that decided to move to the professional level and be able to have the opportunity to get drafted. And we have the seniors that decided to move on as well. And so just appreciate all of those guys gave our program. But that's why you recruit. You want guys we brought here. We've had a lot of good recruiting classes since I've been here, and that gives a chance for those younger guys this is their time. And they've been in the wings. A lot of those times those guys were our number 2s, and we play especially on defense, we play our 1s and 2s almost equal. So those guys that are the next guys up have been playing quite a bit of football. But that's part of the challenge. It's part of what you want to do. You want to be able to create an environment where these guys know I can come there, reach my goals, and then have the opportunity to go play in the NFL. And so when those guys do that, that's great for our program. And so we're excited for that, excited for these young guys that we've recruited here to be able to come in and take their place and be able to continue to elevate this program. So that's the rotation, that's the cycling you want to have to be able to build a true, legit program that has a chance to compete every single year.
I read an article that talked about your recruiting philosophy and just basically saying that no matter who the kid is and no matter what schools have offered, you're going to go after anybody that you think that you can get that'll better your program. Mm-hmm. How has 2 things, COVID and the great season, how has that changed how you guys can recruit, who you're recruiting, those kinds of things?
Well, first of all, the COVID question, it's made it more challenging. We're a relationship-driven program. That's the foundation of LEO, which stands for love each other. And I'm big on relationships. Well, it's been harder to build those over the phone than it is in person. So not getting them on campus, not allowing them to come to the games, that's made it more difficult, more challenging. But then you also have to balance that with what you mentioned second, which is the season that we've just had. And that gives us a chance to attract some guys that say, hey, I can go to Indiana and accomplish all my goals as an individual, academically, and on the football field. And maybe they didn't think they could do that on the football field in the past. And so that's where that allows us. And I think the 2022 class is where you're going to really see the benefits of the 2020 season, because most of our guys were in the 21 class. They were already committed before the season even started. So they hadn't even seen this. The 2020 year had not even played itself out. And so those guys were already all in. They already bought in and they wanted to be here. And so to me, I think the 2022 class is where you're going to see that. Now, the challenge is that's the main class that hasn't been able to do any recruiting visits at all, and the unofficial or official. So we just got to try to use technology and try to find a way to, and which is what we've been doing and working extremely hard at it, to break through those barriers of communication and use Zoom, FaceTime, and all different ways to be able to get face-to-face with people, even though it's via screen.
What kind of recruit is a fit for Indiana University football?
Well, first of all, it's really 3 areas. I want young men that care about being developed as a man, and families that care about that they want their son to be in a culture and environment where they're going to be challenged on a daily basis to be a better future husband and father one day, and a man that has high character and has ability to make strong leadership decisions and is developed into a leader. Number 2 is guys that care about school, not that you have to be a straight A student, but school's important. It's important to you. That degree means something to you and your family, and you're going to be able to approach that academic focus at the high level that we need to have at Indiana. Number three, you want to be great on the football field, that you want to play in the NFL one day, and you love the game of football. You love to train. You love to prepare, and you want those three things, and you want to be a complete, well-rounded person. If it's all about football and that's your primary goal and all you care about is going to the NFL, you're probably not going to fit in here.
You've got 5 in-state commits from Indiana for this coming season, including a 4-star quarterback out of Indy. How important is in-state commitments? I live in Lexington, Kentucky, so everything's basketball around here, and everybody talks about the fans want in-state commitments, and it just depends on the talent level. But how big is it for a football team to get in-state commitments to their football program?
Well, it's very important to me. I coach high school football in this state for 10 years. My dad was my high school coach in Indiana. He was a high school coach for 30 years. And so a lot of relationships, a lot of strong ties for me to Indiana high school football. But we're not a big state, numerically. We don't have a lot of numbers. And so, it's not really about the numbers that you get. It's getting the right ones. And guys that fit with us, guys that want to be here. And I want to get the best players that Indiana has to offer that fit with us and are at the level to allow us to come here and help us win the Big Ten championship. And so, but to me, it's more about, making sure that we get the right guys. I don't necessarily pick a number.
We've seen a lot about the transfer portal, and it seems to be changing and shifting, and a lot of things happen. And you guys have, I think, 3 transfers coming in that I could find at least from major programs coming into your program. How much has the transfer portal changed things when it comes to recruiting, or how much time do you invest into the transfers versus just high school kids?
We focus on the high school kids. It's about player development for me. I really believe in that, and I want guys that we can get here and shape and mold. But what the transfer portal allows you to do is to kind of meet a need, because sometimes, due to injury or just for a variety of reasons where maybe an upperclassman doesn't finish or isn't here any longer when he's in a certain age group that you expected to have that spot filled. And so you can maybe go find an experienced player that can come in as maybe has a year to play or 2 years to play, and he's able to kind of plug him right in and give you some immediate depth, immediate help in the position. We do not recruit junior colleges here at Indiana, and that's not the direction we go academically. And so therefore that gives us a chance to be able to kind of do a little bit of that piece. But I never see us being heavily into that, just maybe, a spot or two. Like you said, we have 3 right now in this class, which is the most we've ever had in a given year.
How much do you as a coach have to be constantly learning, adjusting, switching? We've seen offenses change. We've seen defenses change. We've seen recruiting change, all that kind of stuff. So how important is that flexibility for you as the head coach and running the program?
Very important. You got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to, do whatever is necessary to help your team be successful based on the league that you play in, based on the schemes that you're going to be facing, and what you kind of decide and figure out is your formula for success at that university. Because it's always about fit for me. Fit in terms of the head coaches fit with that university, the staff fit for your players that you're trying to get to come as recruits, the coaches you're trying to attract to come as coaches. It's all about fit. And so to me, adapting and having creating an environment, hey, this is who we are. This is the kind of young man we want. This kind of coaches we want. This is the kind of scheme we're going to have to allow us to be successful at this place. I think you just got to be able to be very adaptive, makes you very more effective.
All right, one more question for you. I appreciate you taking the time to be with us. This is a hard question to answer, I think, but I'll ask it anyways. Is Indiana a football school now?
Well, here's what I would say to that. I take a lot of pride in our football program. I'm an Indiana born and bred Hoosier, in this state. And I love Indiana basketball. I was raised with that. My hometown is the home of Steve Alford, who's, growing up, he was just the icon of this whole state, as a player, and then comes to Indiana, wins the national championship. And so I want to see Indiana basketball be national champions again. And so to me, I want Indiana University to be a school that's very good, that's excellent, that's great at football. And how they decided to say all that, that's not really that's not my area of responsibility. But I want Indiana to be known as a great football school. Yes.
All right. We were hoping to start a controversy. We didn't get there today. But Coach Allen, thank you so much. If people want to, what's the best way for people to keep up with your program, whether it be through social media or website? What's the best way for people to keep up with Indiana football?
Well, you follow me on Twitter, and that's Tom Allen's on there. You can find me pretty quick, and I'm on there quite a bit, very interactive with Twitter and promoting our program and our players and what I believe in and how you build this football team. And we got our website as well. But Twitter to me is the biggest means that we use, and Instagram as well, and Indiana football. So it's it's all about being where the kids are, and that's where we live.
Great. This Indiana football coach, Tom Allen, thank you so much for spending a couple minutes with us today. And we'll definitely keep up with what's going on in the Indiana football world.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me on the show. Take care.
You're welcome.